All right, golf addicts, DB, I'm back. It's the RBC Canadian, and I got three names I think you should consider avoiding in DFS for the RBC Canadian Open. Now, listen, this is a hard video to do because, and I've already said this a bunch of times. I'm going to keep saying it. Fades are hard to put your neck out there and say fade the guy. If I do a sleepers video, they're sleepers for a reason, right? And then people are like, if they don't do well, nobody really cares all that much. But if I give you fades and one of these guys does really well, or all three of them do really well, then y'all are all going to be in my comments and DMs telling me what a butthole I am. But that's the risk I take. Full-time DB, I'm sticking that neck out there a little bit, baby. But here we go. We got to make bold stands in DFS. You can't play everybody. You can't. You can't play everybody. You don't need to have 50 people in your player pool unless you're maxing out 150 entry with this huge bankroll and you want to go that route. There's some pros that do that. I don't know if I love that. You don't need to have all these guys in your bankroll, okay? So you got to make stands. You got to take stands. You got to fade guys even though it may be scary, right? So the guys I'm going to give you today are all in the 8K range or 9K range. These are expensive players, if you ask me. They're in the top tier of price ranges on DraftKings. And a lot of this is price based to me, and that's key. All right. So just because it's a name you like doesn't mean that it's the right value that you feel that you should be getting here. Okay. So let's get into it. I'm going to give you the first play right now. This is the cheapest play. I'm also going to share my screen and show you a little bit on Fantasy National what I'm seeing and why I don't like this guy. I love this guy personally. Big fan. Hope to have him on the podcast one day. Love the kid. His name's Sahith Theegala. Okay, he's $8,700. He's only projected around 7 to 10% on DraftKings. I'm not giving you like all the chalk bombs here, right? That's hard. That's really hard to do. It's hard to pick one of those a week in the email, much less three. But I'm just giving you guys. I think you should go ahead and cross off your player pool, helping you make your decisions a little easier. Now, Sahith is 8,700, like I said, 7%. First off, I looked at some head-to-head matchups that have just dropped. I'm recording this on Tuesday around lunchtime. Some head-to-head matchups that have just dropped, including one on a couple on Sahith, actually. He's actually a plus money underdog to Patrick Reed and Keith Mitchell, who are both priced a little bit ahead of him in DraftKings. So, I guess that makes sense. But he's a plus money dog. He's not a minus dog. He actually opened on FanDuel against Keith Mitchell. He opened as a minus 102 to minus 126 dog to Keith Mitchell. That line has immediately been bet one direction, and it's going the opposite direction of Sahith Theegala. He is now a plus 112 dog to a minus 142 number on Keith Mitchell. So very quickly, the line opened at 11:30, and Theegala was only a minus 102 dog. By 2:30 in the morning, it had changed to minus 142 to plus 112, and it's remained there since. So somebody early on hit that Keith Mitchell side and did not like Sahith. But let's take a look at Sahith's Fantasy National Strokes Gained summary and see what we can see. Let me share the screen. Here we go. All right. He is a longer hitter, but he definitely sprays it. And I listened to his interview with No Laying Up, and they asked him what kind of player he thought he was. And he said, I've been making progress with my driver, my irons, my full swing. I've been making progress, been making strides, and that's where he feels like his better performances have come. But he's always seen himself as a really good short game player, and his short game has kind of bailed him out for his long game. Well, we don't love that in terms of DFS and betting. Like, we would rather you be the opposite, a great ball striker that, occasionally has a peak short game week, like a Luke List or something. Maybe not that bad, but he does hit it a long way. Look at his accuracy numbers. Not good. Does not find fairways often. Not a lot of green in these two ranges, the fairways gained and good drives gained categories on Fantasy National. Although lately, or at least at the Memorial where he finished fifth, he had a good week. Now, can he keep that going? Does it come and go? It tends to come and go. I mean, here he is at the Valspar. It didn't do fantastic. Here he is at Genesis where he had a good week. It was okay. So, it does tend to kind of come and go. It doesn't typically stay super consistent for Sahith. But let's go back and look at the strokes gained summary. Coming off the fifth place finish, he's only 5% owned at Memorial. He's going to get a bump now coming off that fifth place finish. Does tend to gain strokes on POA surfaces, not really as much on bent. This is kind of a mix, I believe, of these two. Doesn't do well in the windy AF conditions. Does okay in moderate winds, I guess. So that's okay. I mean, definitely just had a spike week with the irons. But so that's the question: is this gonna? It's probably not going to continue. He's probably not going to gain 6 strokes with his irons this week, but Did he find a little something and now he's gonna gain 3 or 4? Maybe, and that would be deadly. That would be really good for Sahith because he's a good short game player. If that's the case, he's gonna be doing alright, but he's definitely been inconsistent here. So, for the most part, to me, this comes down to price. Do I really even in a weak field, and I know it's a weak field, but I just can't find myself when I'm looking at the ranges here on DraftKings. I can't find myself paying 8,700 for Sahith Theegala when I feel like there are names in the 7K range that I really have just as much of a floor, a high floor, and just as much of a high ceiling on these guys, and I can save some money. It's really this range that I don't like Sahith being in at 8,700. So for that reason, I'm out. That's a little Shark Tank deal. I've been watching a lot of Shark Tank. All right, I'm gonna get to the next play here. It's actually before I get to the next play, let's watch this video. See, this is what I'm thinking. Can we do night golf?
Absolutely.
Camping out on the range.
Not a problem.
A tequila bar on number 16. Drink stations, multiple places, roving dedicated beverage cart for some signature cocktails. No dress code.
Absolutely.
Hot damn, Steve. I am so excited. It's a pleasure doing business with you. We got no dress code, boys. Woo! That's right, baby. The first ever live Tour Junkies golf event takes place in September 23rd and 24th. If you want to sign up for the 23rd, the 2-day deal, the VIP deal, there are less than 10 spots left for that. You can choose Team DB or Team Pat. We're going to have a Ryder Cup style match that Friday, but that's okay. If you can't make that, come to the support group Saturday Scramble on September 24th at Mountain Valley. There are going to be no rules, pretty much. Okay, just don't show your private parts, and we're good. But everything I mentioned in that video is happening. Your ticket includes your golf. It includes all your food, 2 meals that day, lunch and a dinner. It includes all your beer, wine, and signature Tour Junkies cocktails. Big party on Saturday night. We're going to have music. We're going to have people mixing around, mingling, and doing all kind of fun stuff. Night golf for sure. Camping out on the range if you want to do that. Bring an RV, put it in the parking lot for free if you want to do that. We've got a hotel just 3 miles away, booked, and rooms still some rooms still available for that. If you want to reserve a spot, you need to do that. The link to the Eventbrite description is in this description of the video. So check that out and sign up today. Okay, it's going to be fun. The Saturday Scramble event is going to be a DraftKings scoring setup. So it's not going to be your typical scramble, and we're going to have some wild stuff planned for that event. It will be the most memorable scramble you've ever been to. So check that out. All right, the next name I'm going to give you is also in the 8K range. And listen, this is going to be, you're going to be like, DB, this guy's been in your sleepers video the last like 3 weeks. Why is he a fade now? Well, it's because now people might be catching on a little bit. And as he's been playing better, the price is kind of starting to tick up a little bit. So it's kind of coming down to value for my boy, Patrick Reed, who I've been talking about may be back. I talked him up for the PGA Championship. He played pretty well. I think he finished 30th or something. Talked him up the next week for Colonial. I think he finished. Let's just pull Patrick Reed up. Shall we? I can't remember all these damn things. I know he played well. Patrick Reed. Here he is. Strokes gained summary. Finished 7th at Colonial at the Charles Schwab. Gaining strokes with the irons here these 2 weeks. Didn't have a great finish at Memorial. So here's the deal. We saw Patrick Reed's. I was talking him up here at the PGA Championship when he was 4% owned, and he made the cut for you. He was pretty cheap. He finished 34th. Then I talked him up again at the Charles Schwab when he was 7% owned, finished T7. Now the price has started to tick up for Patrick, but there's still some trepidation here, right? Like, losing 2.5 strokes on approach. Had he just lost nothing, I'd be okay. But there's still a little trepidation here for Reed. He's never been the most accurate player off the tee anyway, and he's also not a bomber. I can deal with it if you're not accurate, but you're a bomber, because you might be able to club down, hit some irons off the tee. But when you're not, I don't like that for Reed here. I don't like this setup for him at the Canadian Open. He is obviously playing in the U.S. Open. Now, I meant to say that about Sahith. He did not qualify. He did the longest day in golf. So he played 36 holes on Monday and did not qualify. So he's going to be tired. He's going to be getting to the course probably late today. He's probably not even there yet to see a brand new course. Not ideal. Reed was already qualified, so he is looking ahead to the U.S. Open, probably continuing to try to find some form, work some things out. But again, this kind of comes down to price based on if I'm paying $8,900 for a guy, I want a little bit higher floor than what we may be getting with Patrick Reed right now. Just seeing it, seeing the performance drop a little bit last week. Yeah, and this being a course, I don't know. I don't know about for him in terms of setup and course fit. At 8,900 Patrick Reed, I want to see a higher floor. That's been different than the 7K Patrick Reed we've been getting these last few weeks that I've been talking up. So again, this comes down to value in DFS, and do I want to pay for this guy, and where am I going to plant my flags in this range, in this upper 8, mid 8 to mid 9 category. So for me, I'm out on P Reed. All right, so in the comments, if you would drop me a comment. I don't know. Give me a comment. Who's your bold fade? Who would be a bold fade for you? If you had to stick your neck out there, drop your nuts, let them hang a little bit. Who would be the fade for you? Don't just make it all. Don't just put it all on me, people. Like, you put yours out there. I show you mine. You show me yours. That's how this works. Put that in the comments, please. That helps out the algorithm. Well, also, what helps out the algorithm is if you click the share button, copy the link, and send it to a buddy. That would be very helpful. That helps DB and Pat out. That helps Tour Junkies out as a brand. It's the nicest thing you can do for us is tell other people about the show. So please do that. Hit the thumbs up, the like button, the subscribe, and let's get to the final pick of the day for 3 guys to avoid for the RBC Canadian Open. And it is at $9,300. He's at $9,300. His name is Adam Hadwin, and he's projected around 13%, the highest owned of these 3 players in terms of projections now on Tuesday. And you're like, well, David, he's Canadian. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He's Canadian, eh? And I'm like, hey, I don't care. I don't care that he's Canadian. First of all, Canada's a big freaking country, bigger than the U.S. Okay, so just because I'm an American and I play in Georgia, that doesn't make me awesome at Chambers Bay, right? So first of all, there's that. All right. Second of all, this is a big one for price. It comes down to price for me with Adam Hadwin at 9,300. Let's talk about some of his head-to-head matchups on FanDuel against Johnny Vegas, who is one of my favorite plays on the board. Against Johnny Vegas, he opened as a minus 134 favorite to Johnny Vegas plus 108. And actually, let me just look this up so I can see when the lines moved. Hadwin on FanDuel against Johnny Vegas opened. Yeah, he opened as a minus plus. What the hell? What the hell? He opened as a minus 134 favorite to plus 108 over Johnny V. That was yesterday at 11:30 when the line opened. And then it immediately got bet down to a minus 124 to minus 102 favorite. So it's a narrowing favorite, not going in the direction of Adam Hadwin here. But I don't. Let me pull up Adam Hadwin and show you some other goodies here. Again, it comes down to price primarily for Hadwin at 9,300. Do I feel like the ceiling is there for Adam Hadwin, a guy who has won once on the PGA Tour back in 2017 at the what was that, the Valspar? Yeah, the Valspar. 18th place finish at Memorial. That's cool. He's obviously been saving his butt around the green. That has been something that he's been really doing well. And he's had these, good runs with iron play, definitely, for sure. He doesn't typically gain strokes off the tee because he's not that long. It should help him here. So this sets up nicely for him. I'm not saying that the course doesn't set up well for him. It certainly does. But here's my thing for him. It comes down to price, and it comes down to this. And this is a narrative that you can choose to accept or you can choose not to, but take a look at his performances at the Canadian Open. Oh my God, he's Canadian. Okay, well, he's got 2 top 10s. One most recent one in 2019, the last time they played the event here. Okay, cool. But look at all the other finishes. Miscut, 49th, 53rd, miscut, 37th. Like, I'm not so sure that just being Canadian is enough to justify the $9,300 price tag for Adam Hadwin, even though he's playing well. I mean, a lot of guys in the 9,300s are playing well, right? I mean, obviously, that's baked into their price. Tony Finau is playing well. He's got 2 top 5s in his last 4 or 5 starts. Sebastian Munoz is playing well. Almost won Craig Ranch. Chris Kirk is killing it. He's playing well at 9,100. Terrell Hatton. Corey Connors, the other Canadian that everybody wants to talk about. Like, all these guys are playing well. That's built into the $9,300 price. But my question is, Connors and Hadwin and maybe Mackenzie Hughes are going to get this whole, Canadian hometown boy love fest. Hadwin did not make the U.S. Open qualifier. He's an alternate. So, I mean, maybe that helps him. He's not focused on next week, or maybe he thinks he's going to get in and he is. But I just think the pressure is not necessarily an automatic good thing. And historically, his performance at a Canadian Open would say that it hasn't been great. Yes, he's got 2 top 10s, but a lot of other bad finishes. So I don't like the price. It's similar to the Sahith price. It's like I don't think the floor for him is high enough that I want to pay the $9,300 for him. And you can talk about his upside all day long, and yeah, I see it, but the upside is the same for other players in that area, in that price range that will be owned the same or maybe less than Adam Hadwin. I mean, 13% is not crazy chalk, but we'll see where it moves. We'll see which direction it goes. So I think I'm out on Adam Hadwin. If I want to roll with the Canadian, I'll just pay the extra $300 and get to Corey Connors. I'll just do that if I want to bank on a Canadian Sun taking down the whole thing. But I think I'm out on Hadwin at 9,300. There you go. There's some 3 guys to avoid. Consider avoiding. Drop a comment. Who are you avoiding? Stick your neck out there like I did. And let's have a great week. Check out the other content here on the YouTube channel. May your screens be green for the RBC Canadian Open. See ya.